Make your next move with American Express Business Platinum. Earn 5 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels booked on AmexTravel.com. And with a welcome offer of 150,000 points after you spend $20,000 on purchases on the card within your first 3 months of membership, your business can soar to new heights. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum. Amex Business Platinum. Built for business by American Express.
Hey, it's Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast. The NBA playoffs are here, and Michelob Ultra is getting you closer to the game than ever with courtside seats and more. Enter now at michelobultra.com/courtside. Michelob Ultra Superior Access Courtside 2024 to 2025 sweepstakes. No purchase necessary. Open to U.S. residents 21 or older. Ends on July 1st, 2025. Multiple entry periods. Visit michelobultra.com/superior access/courtside for free entry deadlines and official rules. Message and data rates may apply. Void where prohibited.
Welcome back to the Well-Seasoned Librarian podcast, Season 16, Episode 9. Today, we're stirring things up a bit as we explore the fascinating intersection of information, community, and food. I'm thrilled to welcome Amy Nash of the popular blog House of Nash Eats, a self-taught home cook, baker, cookbook author, and the creative force behind millions of delicious recipes. Amy has a new cookbook out, House of Nash Eats Every Day, and our host Dean Jones was very eager to talk with Amy about it. Amy Nash started the successful House of Nash Eats blog in 2016, enticing web browsers with hearty main dishes and decedant desserts. Amy is here to talk to us, and I will now take us to Dean's conversation with Amy about her new boo.
Welcome to the podcast. Today, I'm speaking with author Amy Nash of House of Nash Eats Every Day, Timeless Recipes for Modern Comfort Cooking. Amy, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
First off, I want to congratulate you on the release of your new book, House of Nash Eats Every Day. What was the initial inspiration behind creating the collection of recipes?
Well, first, thank you so much. I'm really excited about my first cookbook. I have been asked for years by readers of my site to create a cookbook, and they wanted all of the recipes. They wanted breakfasts and dinners and appetizers and desserts and everything in between. So really, when I was deciding what to include in the cookbook, I knew it had to be a recipe that gets made on repeat at my house, like every day. If we're looking for something to eat, that's going to be the recipes that we're going to choose. Because I figure if I only ever write one cookbook, this has to have like our family favorites.
I think I understand what the terms everyday and modern comfort cooking are, but for our listeners who might not understand the term, can you elaborate on what those terms mean to you and how you've approached them in your book?
Right. So I like to make recipes that are real recipes for real people using real food. And I grew up in the Midwest and Southern California. I moved a bit between those. And my mom was a great cook, but she used a lot of like canned soups and things like that. So I grew up on a lot of comfort food made with kind of those shortcut ingredients. And to me, I think there's like a modern trend to make more things from scratch, to kind of go back to like some of our grandparents' cooking styles. And so when I think about modern comfort food or modern comfort cooking, it's skipping the canned things and making things from seasonal, locally available ingredients, as fresh as we can get.
The book has an impressive over 100 recipes included. What was your process for selecting which dishes would make the final cut? And were there any recipes that were particularly meaningful to you?
Yeah, so it was so hard. It was really hard narrowing down the recipes. I have over 1,000 recipes on my site, and I was pulling from a lot of those that were reader favorites. So like my hamburger helper was going to be in there, like my homemade version of that. classic staple from like our childhoods. That was definitely going to make the cut because it gets made all the time by readers and it's really well loved and reviewed. But I also wanted things that were a little bit different, some twists that you wouldn't see everywhere else. So some are family recipes, like a breakfast recipe that's been in my family since the Great Depression called macaroni and eggs. And it's delicious. If you ask my kids what their favorite breakfast was, that's what they would tell you. And you just don't see it other places. And then like the cover of the cookbook is a hamburger, which we all love hamburgers and cheeseburgers, but this one has a blueberry balsamic sauce. And so it's different. It's like a twist that you might not see anywhere else. Because I wanted this cookbook to stand out and be unique, have some recipes that you aren't going to see other places.
Oh, yeah. And that's the one featured on the cover, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I remember seeing that going, yum, that one, I want that.
Oh, it's great. It's such a good burger. When we have guests over to the house and we're wanting to grill, that's usually the burger that we make because people go crazy for it.
I can see why. You've included tips and tricks throughout the book. Can you talk about that a little bit and share an example of a tip that you think some home cooks would find particularly helpful?
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to make sure that the book was approachable for people, whether they're beginning cooks or whether they're advanced cooks. And I wanted to include tips that would help everybody just level up their cooking just a little bit. So there are tips in there like searing your meat properly. Like if you make sure that your pan is hot and you sear your meat in a hot pan, it's going to naturally release from the pan. It will have a better cook and it will be juicier and you'll get a better result overall. So those little techniques and tricks, those techniques and tips will help you improve your cooking with every single recipe. That's kind of my goal, is that like you'll learn as you make the things.
The book is described as being suitable for home cooks and bakers of all skill levels. How did you ensure that the recipes are both accessible for beginners and still exciting for more experienced cooks?
Sure. So the first place I started, I think about my kids I have preteens and I have them cook things. And so if they are having a hard time with it, that helps me know I need to go back and remake some of the things and redo some of my instructions. I use my husband sometimes as a guinea pig too, to see if he can cook it. But then I also think about my readers who often will ask questions about recipes that I've made. And if it's a question that I get repeatedly on a recipe, that tells me that there's a problem area here and I can help troubleshoot that by rewriting the instructions, by explaining things in terms or using words that help other people understand the process throughout the whole thing. And where there are steps that might be a little confusing or need a little more explanation, I've included some step-by-step photos to help show that for people who learn more visually.
The visual content of the book is really stunning. How did you really approach the art direction of the book? I know that a lot of the photos are very much highlighting the recipes. As we mentioned, the burger on the cover immediately grabs your attention. What was your thought process going in for this?
It was really, really important to me that every single photo in the book be one that came from my own kitchen and my own camera. So I made every dish myself. I took every photograph myself because I wanted it to be an attainable kind of cookbook where people wouldn't have Pinterest fails. Sometimes I know I've seen recipes and tried recipes and the end result looks nothing at all like the picture that I saw. And so I wanted to make sure that these pictures were both inspirational and made your mouth water or made you really crave something and want to try to make it, but also look like what it's going to look like coming out of your own kitchen.
Yeah. The physical book itself is lovely. And excuse me while I nerd out for a minute, because book design is something that I really get into, especially, somebody who uses cookbooks a lot. I love that it was a linen-bound flat lay that you can take and you could put it down without having to put a couple cans of peas on it to keep the book open. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I got really lucky and I have some friends who had already made cookbooks and they shared their designer and their printer with me, the contact information. And I used this wonderful designer named Tara and a printer based out of Utah. And we worked together to kind of come up with some options. I talked to them about what was really important to me and how I used cookbooks. At first, I was considering a spiral bound cookbook because I really wanted it to lay that flat. Because, like you said, nobody wants to like have to put cans of peas to hold their book open or rifle through the pages to find the recipe when it accidentally falls shut. And it really helped me narrow down options and come up with a design and a style that was functional, but beautiful and really high quality. And I'm so thrilled with the end result.
For someone who is just discovering your work through this book, what do you hope that they take away from their experience cooking from House of Nash Eats every day?
Confident to try dishes that they've never tried before. I tried to include a variety of things, ones that would be good entryway dishes that they maybe have seen or eaten, had, and want to cook, but also ones that will motivate them to get in the kitchen and try something just a little bit new or a little bit different, so that they can improve in their own cooking ability. So they make more dishes at home every day for their family.
All right, and last question. What's one of the favorite recipes from your household from this book?
Oh gosh, well, I did already talk about the burger on the cover. So since I talked about a burger, I think I should talk about a dessert too. And it's got to be the strawberry rhubarb pie. It's one of my all-time favorite desserts. Rhubarb is a favorite ingredient, and it's really seasonal. And every year when rhubarb starts showing up in the stores and the farmer's market, I go and I buy as much as I can, and I chop it up and I freeze it so that I can cook with rhubarb all year long. It's great, savory and sweet on its own or with strawberry or other flavors. And that pie, I've had so many people say they have entered it in contests and won awards with it. So it really is an award-winning pie. That's probably, I would consider, one of my signature desserts.
Amy, I want to thank you for being on the podcast. I've loved getting to talk to you about your new book. We're going to have links to purchase the book in the bio, so people go check that out. And we'll also have Amy's website as well. Amy, thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you so much, Dean. It was lovely talking to you.
And that brings us to the end of another insightful episode of the Well-Seasoned Librarian podcast. A huge thank you to the wonderful Amy Nash for joining us today and sharing her passion for food and her exciting new cookbook, House of Nash Eats Every Day. It was truly a pleasure to hear about her journey and the delicious inspiration behind her recipes. We hope you enjoyed this unique blend of library love and culinary creativity. We always strive to bring you engaging conversations that explore the diverse ways information and community connect with our lives. If you like our podcast, please leave a review on whichever platform you listen to it, and please share our link on social media. Thank you for tuning in to Season 16, Episode 9. Be sure to check our show notes for links to Amy's blog and her new cookbook. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Until next time, we will see you in the library.